5. Squeeze. Errol feels a tickle at the back of his neck, like lightning is about to strike. He tenses, fully expecting some bright, fiery bolt to descend from the heavens and fry him to nothing, but all that comes is another knock at the door. Arguably, considering what Dr. Lumen just told them, the lightning would be preferable. He meets eyes with Pat. She frowns and points down the hall as if to ask if he's going to answer it. He shakes his head slowly. A chair in the dining room scrapes as Dr. Lumen gets up from the table. The person outside knocks harder. A powerful voice calls, "Dr. Lumen!" The people inside remain silent. The voice knocks again. "Dr. Eliza Lumen, are you inside?" They wait for a response that doesn't come. "Dr. Lumen, if you don't come to the door, I have to assume you're in danger. I'll give you 10 seconds.
Can they do that?
Pat hisses. Errol shrugs. His heart is starting to pound. He looks over his shoulder at the window down the hall. He could climb out within 10 seconds. The floor creaks softly under Dr. Lumen's weight as she tiptoes over to where the Ritters are standing frozen. "Who is that?" Errol whispers. Eliza raises a finger to her lips. She points to the window. Apparently, great minds think alike. Errol nods and turns to step carefully to the end of the hall. He unlatches it. The voice outside says low, "I can hear someone inside." Another voice says something inaudible. "Dr. Lumen, we're coming in." Eliza turns to face the door and shouts in a convincingly panicked tone, "Please don't, they have a gun." "Dr. Lumen!" Eliza sticks her face into her elbow and unleashes a stifled scream. She looks at Errol with wide and pleading eyes. He chokes, but manages to squeak out a, "Don't make a move or the scientist gets it." Eliza grimaces at his lousy performance, but she flashes a quick thumbs up. "Who's in there?" the voice demands. Errol does not respond. Eliza presses her arm against the side of her face and lets out a, "Help!" "Dr. Lumen," says the voice, "remain calm. Whoever that is, please release the doctor unharmed."
Step away from the door, shouts Pat. We have the device and we'll blow up this whole neighborhood if you don't get into your car and leave.
Eliza's jaw drops as she smacks herself on the forehead. "Idiot," Errol hisses. Pat shrugs aggressively and mouths,
"Like you could do better."
There's some more inaudible conversation from the people outside. Finally, a different, gruffer voice responds, "I don't believe you're about to blow yourselves up." Eliza, Errol, and Pat all share worried glances. And the voice continues, "Nobody smart enough to do what you've done would be that stupid, now would they?" Dr. Lumen is done with this. She walks down the hall towards Errol by the window, no longer bothering to stay quiet. Errol slides the window open just as a figure emerges from around the house. It's a man in a suit and sunglasses. Probably not an actual man in black, but a serious as shit agent nonetheless. He levels a pistol at them through the window and shouts, "Freeze!" They freeze. The adrenaline surges through Errol's veins like a million squirming insects. He puts his hands in the air. Eliza does the same. Behind them, Pat throws herself to the ground with a squeal. He starts to disassociate. His body, his mind, and his soul disentangling like a flock of birds away from a cat. Something hot and wet dribbles down his pant leg. Far off in the distance, his mind registers that he's pissed himself, but he has no interest in that development right now. Another part of him is aware of other figures emerging from the front of the house. Much more interesting, but he can't even focus on that. He starts to spiral. The nervous highway that links his inner ear to the neurons in his gut gets interrupted by the electrical mayhem, and the vertigo brings him close to vomiting. The whole operation that calls itself Errol Ritter is threatening to dissolve completely. Just when he thinks he's about to pass out, something reaches out to him. It doesn't come from those far-off lands where the guns and wet pants exist, but from a deep, sturdy root within his mind. It anchors itself on the true center of his being and begins to create a well of gravity. And those disparate parts of him start to orbit the well, coming back together in an inverted explosion. He knows the flavor of this gravity. He felt it for the first time last night. He'd assumed at the time that it was some unattainable power that radiated from the highly evolved minds of those beings on the ship behind the moon, but it becomes clear in that moment that this power is anything but alien, at least not to him. He feels his face pressed back against his skull, the skin resealing and the nerves braiding themselves back together, stronger than ever before. His eyes return to their sockets. He can feel the urine gluing the jeans to his legs. It's definitely, concretely piss. He can smell it. And those are definitely, concretely men pointing guns at his face. He can feel their psychic energy radiating out from their skulls. It's so powerful and distinct that he's astounded he's never been able to see people like this before. He remains perfectly still, but his mind moves quickly. It rolls through the vastness of the noosphere as a many-armed leviathan. Its tentacles wrap themselves around the other ignorant giants in the space around him. It feels Pat's mind first, scared and jittering in a tight mass on the floor, something between a retracted snail and a shrieking cicada. And then the leviathan runs its fingers over Dr. Lumen, a clockwork city of rational efficiency. Even in this hopeless state, the gears are turning. Smokestacks billowing, it works to find a solution. Errol has found the solution. He glides over to the men encircling the house, regimented, disciplined minds. They do not operate as worlds of their own, at least not in this moment. They are individual parts of a greater whole, each one bent and wound taut in order to fit together to accomplish their mission. He isolates one of them with his newfound senses. It's more than just an ordinary sixth sense, though. This is a true reality. He can feel the substance of these beings. He knows them beyond what he can deduce. There is a texture to them, a physicality, a vulnerability. In the span of a microsecond, he locates a tender spot on the one in front of him. He digs his uncountable arms in and begins to squeeze. Back in the surface world, the man twitches. His discipline keeps him focused, but Errol squeezes harder. The man's face wrinkles, and he reaches up to scratch his nose. Errol squeezes harder, then twists. The man lurches. His arms fail, and the gun is lowered. Blood begins to trickle from his nostril. The other men take notice and redirect their attention from the fugitives. Errol notices them too. He reaches out with other extensions of his mind. One by one, they lose control of their bodies. Ears, eyes, and noses begin to bleed. One man grabs his head and screams. The blood becomes creamy and chunky as it continues to pour out. The first man collapses, oozing brain all over the garden, and the next man falls too. The third is a bit stronger. He tries one last time to level his gun at the people standing stone still at the windowsill, fires a bullet off into the sky, and finally collapses in a heap beside his comrades. The clockwork city beside Errol quickly refocuses its energy. Eliza leaps over the windowsill to the grass below. Errol starts to follow, but remembers the shivering snail on the floor behind him. He helps Pat to her feet. She stares at him with her big glassy stare, her face pulled taut against her skull. He assures her that it's okay, and she follows him tentatively out the window after the doctor.